The vast expanse of space held many secrets, but none as dark as the Galactic Council. For centuries, they had ruled the known universe with an iron fist, their power unchallenged and their decisions absolute. The Council was made up of representatives from the oldest and most advanced alien races, each believing they knew what was best for the galaxy. On the distant planet of Zircon, the Council's gleaming towers reached towards the stars. Inside the Grand Hall, beings of all shapes and sizes gathered for another meeting. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few were made of pure energy. But they all shared one thing: a deep mistrust of the newest race to join their ranks. Humans. Order, order, shouted High Counselor Xylox, his purple skin shimmering under the bright lights. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to him. We are here to discuss the human problem once again. A low murmur spread through the crowd. The humans had only been part of the galactic community for 50 years, but in that short time, they had caused more trouble than any other race in history. Counselor Zeet, a small green creature with large, sad eyes, spoke up. They are dangerous, unpredictable. Their technology advances too quickly. We must do something before it's too late. But they have also brought great innovations, argued Counselor Embra, her crystalline body glowing softly. Their music, their art, their ability to adapt. These are valuable traits. The debate raged on for hours. Some council members saw potential in humanity, while others saw only threat. As the arguments grew heated, High Counselor Xylox raised a hand for silence. "We have deliberated long enough," he said, his voice grave. "It is time to vote on the fate of humanity." The tension in the room was palpable as each council member cast their vote. When the final tally was revealed, a collective gasp echoed through the hall. The decision was made. Humanity was to be contained, their growth stunted, their potential limited. But how? It was Counselor Vex, a being of shadow and smoke, who proposed the unthinkable. "We must target their young," he hissed. "Limit their numbers, and we limit their future." The room erupted in chaos. Even those who feared humanity were shocked by the suggestion. But as Vex laid out his plan, more and more council members began to nod in agreement. It was cruel, but effective. By reducing the human population, they could ensure that humanity would never pose a real threat to the council's power. As the final vote was cast, the fate of millions of human children was sealed. The council had spoken, and their word was law. Far away on the blue planet called Earth, humans went about their daily lives, unaware of the dark decision that had just been made. In a small town in the American Midwest, Sarah Johnson tucked her daughter Emily into bed. "Mommy, tell me about the stars again," Emily said, her eyes wide with wonder. Sarah smiled and sat on the edge of the bed. "Well, sweetie, the stars are like a big neighborhood in space, and we're part of that neighborhood now. There are so many amazing things out there, and one day, you might even visit other planets." Emily grinned, hugging her stuffed alien toy. "I want to be a space explorer when I grow up." "You can be anything you want to be," Sarah said, kissing her daughter's forehead. "The universe is full of possibilities." As Sarah turned off the light and closed the door, she had no idea that in just a few short days, her world would be turned upside down. The Galactic Council's decision was about to change everything, and humanity would soon face its greatest challenge yet. In the depths of space, a fleet of ships was already being prepared, their mission, to carry out the Council's dark decree. As they set course for Earth, the countdown to tragedy had begun. Humanity stood on the brink of a storm they couldn't see coming. But soon, very soon, they would learn the true cost of their place among the stars. And when they did, the galaxy would never be the same again. The first signs of trouble came on a quiet Tuesday morning. All across Earth, communication systems suddenly went dark. TVs flickered off, phones fell silent, and the internet vanished. At first, people thought it was just a temporary glitch. But as hours turned into days, panic began to spread. In Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. President Lisa Chen paced the room, her face etched with worry. "What do we know?" she demanded. Admiral James Torres, head of Earth's Space Defense Force, stepped forward. "Madam President, our long-range scanners have detected a large fleet of alien ships entering our solar system. They're not responding to any of our hails." A hush fell over the room. Everyone knew what this meant. The Galactic Council, which had welcomed humanity into its fold just 50 years ago, was now turning against them. "How long until they reach Earth?" President Chen asked. Admiral Torres hesitated. "At their current speed, less than 48 hours. As governments around the world prepared for the worst, ordinary people tried to make sense of what was happening. In Tokyo, teenager Hiro Tanaka helped his parents stock up on supplies. In Rio de Janeiro, Dr. Maria Santos worked tirelessly to calm her panicked patients. And in that small Midwestern town, Sarah Johnson held her daughter Emily close, wondering what the future would bring. High above the Earth, aboard the Council's flagship, High Counselor Xylox watched the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. Despite his earlier decision, doubt gnawed at him. "Are we truly doing the right thing?" he murmured. Counselor Vex materialized beside him, a dark cloud of smoke and shadow. "It is necessary," he hissed. "Remember, the humans are a threat. This is for the greater good of the galaxy." Xylox nodded slowly, pushing his doubts aside. The plan was in motion. There was no turning back now. As the alien fleet entered Earth's atmosphere, chaos erupted. Strange energy beams shot from the ships, targeting specific areas around the globe. But these weren't weapons of mass destruction. They were something far more sinister. In hospitals and homes around the world, pregnant women suddenly clutched their bellies in pain. Children under the age of 10 collapsed, their small bodies racked with an unknown illness. The Galactic Council's plan was revealed in all its horrifying clarity. They were attacking the most vulnerable humans, aiming to cripple the species' future. Sarah Johnson rushed Emily to the hospital, her heart pounding with fear. The emergency room was packed with scared parents and sick children. As she waited for a doctor, Sarah overheard snippets of conversation that chilled her to the bone. "It's happening everywhere. All the kids are getting sick. They say it's the aliens." Suddenly, Emily's small hand went limp in Sarah's grasp. "Emily?" Sarah cried, her voice rising in panic. "Emily, wake up." As doctors rushed to help, similar scenes played out in homes and hospitals across the planet. Parents watched helplessly as their children slipped away, victims of an attack they couldn't understand or fight. In the White House Situation Room, President Chen received the grim reports. Millions of children affected, birth rates plummeting to zero, the future of humanity hanging by a thread. With tears in her eyes but steel in her voice, President Chen turned to her advisors. "This is no longer about diplomacy," she said. "This is about survival. Admiral Torres, I'm authorizing full military response. We need to fight back." Admiral Torres nodded grimly. "Yes, Madam President, but our technology is still far behind theirs. This won't be a fair fight." "Then we'll make it unfair," Chen replied, her eyes flashing with determination. "Humanity has always thrived when pushed to the brink. It's time to show the galaxy what we're really made of." As the orders went out, a wave of grim determination swept across the planet. The initial shock and fear were giving way to something else. Anger. Pure, white-hot anger. In labs and workshops around the world, scientists and engineers worked feverishly, pushing the boundaries of human technology. In military bases, soldiers prepared for a war unlike any they'd fought before. And in homes and hospitals, those who had lost children vowed revenge. The Galactic Council had hoped to weaken humanity. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. As the first human ships rose to meet the alien fleet, one thing became clear. This was no longer about joining the galactic community. This was about survival. and humanity would not go down without a fight. The skies above Earth blazed with fire as human ships clashed with the Galactic Council's fleet. It was a battle that, by all logic, humanity should have lost quickly. But desperation and rage are powerful motivators, and humans have always been at their most innovative when facing impossible odds. Dr. Amelia Rodriguez stood in her underground lab, surrounded by holographic displays and humming machines. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but they sparkled with fierce determination. "We've cracked it," she announced to the team of scientists gathered around her. "The alien ships use a form of quantum entanglement for their shields. If we can disrupt that entanglement, we can bring down their defenses," finished Dr. Chen, his voice filled with awe. "Amelia, you're a genius." As the scientists rushed to implement their breakthrough, similar scenes played out in labs and workshops around the world. Humanity was pooling its resources and knowledge like never before, driven by a common purpose: survival and vengeance. In orbit, Admiral Torres received the update from Earth. A grim smile crossed his face as he relayed the information to his fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres. Implement Protocol Omega. I repeat, implement Protocol Omega." The human ships suddenly changed formation, their movements becoming unpredictable. Beams of energy shot out, not aiming to destroy, but to disrupt. The alien ships' seemingly impenetrable shields began to flicker and fail. Aboard the Council flagship, High Counselor Xylox watched in disbelief as human ships began to punch through their defenses. "Impossible," he muttered. "How could they have advanced so quickly?" Counselor Vex hissed in anger. "We underestimated them. These humans are more resourceful than we thought." As the battle raged in space, a different kind of war was being fought on Earth. In hospitals around the world, doctors and scientists worked tirelessly to counter the alien attack on human children. Dr. Maria Santos, the Brazilian doctor who had been calming patients just days ago, now stood at the forefront of this battle. She had made a breakthrough in understanding the alien bioweapon and was close to developing a cure. "The alien virus targets specific human genes," she explained to a group of international colleagues over a secure video call. "But if we can use CRISPR technology to temporarily alter those genes, we can make the children resistant," a doctor from India finished, excitement in his voice. "Dr. Santos, this could save millions of lives." As hope began to spread, the tide of the space battle was turning too. Human ships, once hopelessly outmatched, were now holding their own against the alien fleet. Some were even beginning to gain the upper hand. On the ground, Sarah Johnson sat by her daughter Emily's hospital bed, holding her small, limp hand. Suddenly, she felt a weak squeeze. Sarah's heart leaped as Emily's eyes fluttered open. "Mommy," Emily whispered, her voice weak but alive. Tears of joy streamed down Sarah's face as she hugged her daughter. All around them, similar scenes were playing out as children began to wake up, their bodies finally overcoming the alien attack. Back in Washington, President Chen received the reports with a mix of relief and steely resolve. "The children are recovering, and we're holding our own in space," she said to her advisors. "But this isn't over. The Galactic Council needs to answer for what they've done." She turned to a holographic display of Earth's fleet. "Admiral Torres, you have new orders. Push them back. I want that council ship captured. It's time we had a face-to-face talk with the beings who thought they could wipe us out." As the orders were relayed, a cheer went up from the human ships. They had been fighting defensively, merely trying to survive. Now, it was time to take the fight to the enemy. The Galactic Council had fought to end humanity's threat by targeting its future. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that was now armed with rapidly advancing technology and burning with the desire for justice. As Earth's ships began their assault on the Council flagship, one thing became clear. The galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson about humanity. They were not just fighters or survivors. They were avengers, and their reckoning had only just begun. The vastness of space became a battlefield as humanity's ships, powered by newfound technology and burning determination, closed in on the Galactic Council's flagship. Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of his command ship, his eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel looming before them. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres." He spoke into the comm system, his voice steady and determined. "Remember why we fight. For our children, for our future, for Earth. Engage at will." As if released from invisible chains, Earth's fleet surged forward. Beams of energy crisscrossed the void, striking alien shields that no longer seemed as impenetrable as before. Aboard the Council flagship, chaos reigned. High Counselor Tylock stumbled as another impact rocked the ship. "How is this possible?" he demanded, turning to his advisors. They were primitives just days ago. Counselor Vex, his smoky form rippling with agitation, hissed, "We have gravely underestimated these humans. Their adaptability is unprecedented." As if to prove Vex's point, a new type of human ship suddenly appeared on their sensors, smaller and faster than the others. It weaved through the Council's defenses with impossible agility. On the bridge of this new ship, Lieutenant Zora Chen, daughter of President Chen, gripped the controls tightly. "All right, Nexus," she spoke to the ship's eye. "Let's show them what we can do." The ship, christened Nexus, was a marvel of human ingenuity. Born from the fusion of Earth technology and reverse-engineered alien systems, it represented humanity's leap into a new era of space warfare. Nexus darted between larger ships, its advanced weapons striking with surgical precision. One by one, the Council's support ships began to fall, leaving their flagship increasingly isolated. Back on Earth, the battle for survival continued. In her lab, Dr. Amelia Rodriguez worked feverishly on a new project. Surrounded by holograms showing alien biology, she muttered to herself, "If we can adapt their own bioweapon, turn it against them." Her colleague, Dr. Chen, looked up from his workstation. "Amelia, are you suggesting we use their weapon on them? Is that even possible?" Amelia's eyes gleamed with a mix of scientific curiosity and righteous anger. "They thought they could wipe out our children. Let's see how they like a taste of their own medicine." As scientists raced against time, world leaders gathered to discuss the future. President Chen addressed the emergency United Nations session, her voice broadcast across the globe. "We stand at a crossroads," she declared. "Our victory seems within reach, but we must decide. What kind of victors will we be? Will we descend to the level of those who sought to destroy us, or will we rise above, showing the galaxy the true strength of humanity?" The debate that followed was heated. Some called for complete annihilation of the Galactic Council, others for a more measured approach. In homes and shelters around the world, people listened, their hearts heavy with loss, but also hopeful for the future. In a small-town hospital, Sarah Johnson watched the broadcast, her recovering daughter Emily asleep in her arms. "What do you think will happen, Mom?" asked her older son, Michael. Sarah looked down at Emily, then back at the screen showing the ongoing space battle. "I don't know, honey, but I hope we remember who we are, even in our darkest moments." As if in answer to her words, a message suddenly came through from Admiral Torres to all Earth forces. "This is Admiral Torres. The Council flagship has lowered its shields. They're surrendering." A collective gasp seemed to echo across the planet. After days of brutal fighting, was it really over? On the Council flagship, High Counselor Xylox stood before a communications screen, his once proud posture now defeated. "People of Earth," he began, his voice trembling slightly. We were wrong. We offer our unconditional surrender." As the news spread, celebrations erupted around the world. But in the halls of power and in the minds of those who had fought hardest, a crucial question arose. What now? Humanity had faced extinction and emerged victorious. They had evolved from a species on the brink to one capable of defeating the galaxy's greatest power. But with this new strength came a great responsibility. As Earth's ships surrounded the surrendered Council flagship, the real challenge was just beginning. Humanity would now have to decide not just the fate of the Galactic Council, but its own place in the universe. The war was over. The real test of humanity's character was about to begin. The Great Hall of the United Nations buzzed with tension. Representatives from every nation on Earth had gathered to decide the fate of the Galactic Council. At the center of the room, encased in a specially designed containment field, stood High Counselor Xylox and his advisors, including the shadowy Counselor Vex. President Chen took the podium, her face etched with the weight of the decision before them. "We have suffered greatly," she began, her voice strong and clear. "Our children were targeted, our world was attacked. But now we must decide. Do we answer cruelty with cruelty, or do we show the galaxy a better way?" As murmurs filled the hall, Sarah Johnson watched the proceedings from her living room. Emily curled up beside her on the couch. The little girl, still recovering from the alien attack, looked up at the alien figures on the screen. "Mommy, are they the bad guys who made me sick?" Sarah hugged her daughter close. "Yes, sweetheart. But remember, just because someone does bad things doesn't mean we should do bad things back." Back in the UN hall, Admiral Torres stepped forward to speak. "As the commander of our forces, I've seen the destruction firsthand. Part of me wants revenge." He paused, his eyes sweeping the room. "But I've also seen the incredible things we can achieve when we work together. We've leapfrogged centuries of technological development in just days. Imagine what we could do in peace." Dr. Amelia Rodriguez was the next to address the assembly. "We've unlocked secrets of the universe that we never dreamed possible. The potential for advancement, for curing diseases, for exploring the stars. It's all within our grasp now." As the debate raged on, in a secure facility nearby, Lieutenant Zora Chen was interviewing captured alien scientists. One of them, a spindly creature with large, remorseful eyes, spoke softly. "We were afraid. Your species evolves so quickly, adapts so fast. The Council feared you would overtake us, so they decided to limit you." Zora's eyes narrowed. "By killing our children." The alien scientist lowered its gaze. It was wrong. Many of us disagreed, but we were overruled. Perhaps this is an opportunity for both our peoples to learn and grow." As Zara relayed this conversation to the UN Assembly, a hush fell over the room. The words of the alien scientist seemed to shift the mood. President Chen once again took the podium. "We have a choice to make. We can destroy the Galactic Council, take revenge for what they've done. Or we can show the entire galaxy, what humanity truly stands for." She turned to face the alien counselors. "High Counselor Xylox, you will stand trial for your crimes against humanity. But it will be a fair trial, with the chance to speak in your defense. And regardless of the outcome, we will not punish your entire civilization for the actions of its leaders." Xylox's eyes widened in surprise. Even Counselor Vex's smoky form seemed to flicker with shock. President Chen continued, her voice growing stronger. "Instead, we propose a new galactic order, one where humanity takes its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as partners. We will share our advancements, our unique perspective. In return, we ask for knowledge, for the chance to explore and grow." She swept her gaze across the assembly. "We were attacked because the Council feared our potential. Let's show them that their fear was misplaced, not because we're harmless, but because we choose to use our strength wisely." As her words rang out, cheers began to erupt, first in the UN hall, then in homes and gatherings around the world. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, had stared extinction in the face, and had chosen hope over hate, progress over vengeance. In her living room, Sarah hugged Emily tightly, tears in her eyes as she watched history unfold. "See, sweetie, this is who we are. This is humanity at its best." As the UN voted overwhelmingly in favor of President Chen's proposal, the first steps towards a new galactic future were taken. Humanity had not just survived, they had risen above, ready to take their place among the stars. The Galactic Council had sought to limit humanity's potential. Instead, they had unleashed it, not just technologically, but morally. As the news spread across Earth and into the stars beyond, one thing became clear: a new age had dawned, and humanity would lead the way. 5 years had passed since humanity's fateful decision to forge a new path in the galaxy. The Earth had changed dramatically, as had its place in the cosmic order. On a clear morning, Sarah Johnson stood with her daughter Emily, now a healthy 10-year-old, at the grand opening of the first Galactic Embassy on Earth. The building was a marvel of human and alien architecture, its sweeping lines and shimmering surfaces a testament to the cooperation between species. "Look, Mom." Emily pointed excitedly at a group of alien children playing with human kids in the embassy's garden. "That one looks like a talking tree." Sarah smiled, remembering a time when such a sight would have been unimaginable. "That's right, sweetie. They're Arborians. Remember what I told you about being kind to everyone, no matter how different they look." Emily nodded solemnly. "Because we're all part of the same big galaxy family now, right?" Inside the embassy, President Chen, now in her second term, was giving a tour to a group of alien diplomats. Among them was Zix, the former assistant to High Counselor Xylox, now serving as the interim leader of the reformed Galactic Council. "And this," President Chen said, gesturing to a large holographic display, "is our new deep space exploration initiative. We're combining our rapid adaptation skills with the advanced propulsion technology shared by the Zirconians. We believe we'll be able to reach the Andromeda Galaxy within the next decade." Zix's compound eyes widened in amazement. "Incredible," he chittered. "It would have taken the old council centuries to achieve such a feat." In another part of the embassy, Dr. Amelia Rodriguez was demonstrating the latest breakthrough in medical science to a group of eager alien researchers. "By combining our understanding of human genetics with Tralaxian biotechnology," she explained, manipulating a 3D model of a DNA strand, "we've developed a cure for over 60% of known genetic disorders across all sentient species." A Tralaxian scientist, its tentacles waving in excitement, spoke up. "Dr. Rodriguez, this is revolutionary. The implications for galactic healthcare are enormous." Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, Admiral Torres, now retired from active duty, was overseeing the construction of the largest space station ever built. The station, named Unity, was designed to serve as a neutral meeting ground for all galactic civilizations. As he floated in the observation deck, Admiral Torres couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. Just 5 years ago, he had been leading warships against the very beings who were now helping to build this monument to peace. His comm device beeped, and the face of his daughter, Lieutenant, now Captain, Zara Chen, appeared. "Dad, you won't believe what we've just discovered on our latest expedition." Her eyes sparkled with excitement. "We'd found signs of a completely new form of life in the Horsehead Nebula. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before." Back on Earth, in a small classroom in what used to be Sarah's hometown, Michael Johnson, Emily's older brother, was teaching a group of human and alien children about the events that had changed the galaxy. "And so," he said, looking out at the diverse faces before him, "even though the Galactic Council did a terrible thing, humanity chose not to seek revenge. Instead, we decided to work together to build a better future for everyone." A young Zirconian raised its hand, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. "Teacher Michael, is it true that humans can adapt to almost anything?" Michael smiled. "That's right. But our greatest adaptation was learning to see beyond our differences and work together. That's the real strength of humanity." As the day drew to a close, families across Earth gathered to watch the sunset. But now, their eyes were drawn beyond the horizon, to the stars that had once seemed so distant and are now filled with possibility. In her backyard, Sarah sat with Emily, gazing up at the night sky. "Mom," Emily said softly, "do you think we'll ever visit other worlds?" Sarah hugged her daughter close. "I'm sure we will, sweetheart. And when we do, we'll bring with us the most important lesson we've learned, that the strongest force in the universe isn't technology or weapons, but understanding and compassion. As they sat there, a shooting star streaked across the sky, perhaps a natural phenomenon, or maybe one of the many ships now traversing the stars, carrying the message of humanity's resilience and hope to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. The universe had tried to extinguish humanity's light. Instead, that light now shone brighter than ever, illuminating a path towards a future filled with endless possibilities. 10 years had passed since the fateful attack that nearly wiped out Earth's children. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition, and humanity stood at the center of this transformation. On a crisp autumn morning, Emily Johnson, now a confident 15-year-old, stood on the platform of the first intergalactic transport terminal. Her mother, Sarah, stood beside her, a mix of pride and worry on her face. "Are you sure you're ready for this, honey?" Sarah asked, adjusting Emily's backpack. Emily nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Mom, I've been preparing for this my whole life. The Galactic Youth Ambassador Program is a huge honor." As they hugged goodbye, a familiar voice called out, "Emily, wait up." It was President Chen's son, Lai, running towards them with his own packed bag. The two teenagers grinned at each other, their friendship a symbol of the new era. They were part of the first generation to grow up in a truly intergalactic society. Nearby, Dr. Amelia Rodriguez was giving last-minute instructions to the young ambassadors. "Remember," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "you carry with you not just the hopes of humanity, but the dreams of a united galaxy." As the children boarded the sleek, faster-than-light ship, adults from various species wiped tears from their eyes, or equivalent organs. This mission represented more than just diplomacy. It was the culmination of a decade of healing and growth. Meanwhile, in the newly constructed Galactic Senate on Mars, representatives from hundreds of worlds were gathered for a historic occasion. Admiral Torres, now a respected diplomat, stood at the podium. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice echoing through the Grand Chamber, "today we vote on the final ratification of the Galactic Constitution, a document that enshrines the rights of all sentient beings, guarantees the sovereignty of all worlds, and establishes protocols to prevent any future attempts at genocide." As the votes were cast, tension filled the air. The outcome would shape the future of countless civilizations. When the final tally was announced, cheers erupted across the chamber. The Constitution had passed unanimously. In a quiet corner of the Senate building, High Counselor Xylox, now elderly and frail, watched the proceedings on a view screen. His punishment had been to witness the flourishing of the very species he had tried to destroy. "I was so wrong," he murmured to Zix, his caretaker. "Humanity's strength was never a threat. It was the key to our salvation." Zix nodded, his compound eyes reflecting the joyous scenes on the screen. "They taught us all that diversity is not something to be feared, but celebrated." Back on Earth, in the small town where it all began, Michael Johnson was teaching the final class of the school year. His students, a mix of humans and alien species, listened intently. "And so," Michael concluded, "the darkest moment in Earth's history became the catalyst for the greatest leap forward in galactic civilization. Remember, it's not our abilities that define us, but the choices we make in the face of adversity." As the class ended, Michael looked out the window to see a group of children playing. Human kids with their 4 arms, thanks to genetic advancements. Zirconian children floating on anti-gravity discs. Arborean saplings swaying in the breeze. All laughing. All friends. That evening, a special broadcast was beamed across the galaxy. On screens of all shapes and sizes, President Chen addressed an audience of trillions. 10 years ago, we faced extinction," she said, her voice strong and clear. "Today, we stand united, not just as humans, but as citizens of a thriving galactic community. We have turned our near tragedy into a triumph of spirit, a testament to the power of forgiveness, adaptation, and cooperation." As her words resonated across the stars, on a distant world, Emily and Lai were making first contact with a newly discovered civilization. Their translator chips worked overtime as they explained the concept of the United Galactic Alliance. The alien leader, a being of pure energy, pulsed with curiosity. "And your people," it asked, "they do not seek revenge for past wrongs?" Emily smiled, sharing a glance with Lai. "We've learned that the best revenge is to create a future so bright that the darkness of the past fades away." As the sun set on Earth, Sarah Johnson sat in her backyard, looking up at the stars. Each twinkling light represented not just distant suns, but the countless worlds and civilizations that were now part of humanity's extended family. A shooting star streaked across the sky, Emily's ship carrying the best of humanity to the farthest reaches of the cosmos. Sarah smiled, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. The galaxy had tried to extinguish humanity's flame. Instead, that flame had become a beacon, lighting the way to a future brighter than anyone could have imagined. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't defeating an enemy, but turning that enemy into a friend. And in doing so, they had not just saved themselves, but had given the entire galaxy a second chance. The story of humanity's near extinction had become a legend, a cautionary tale with a hopeful ending. And as new civilizations joined the Alliance every day, that legend spread, carrying with it a simple but powerful message. In the vastness of space, it is not the strongest who survive, but those who learn to work together. And in that lesson, humanity had found its true place among the stars.